everyone, welcome back. My name is Lisa Flanders. I'm a physiotherapist in Ottawa, Ontario, and I work within women's health and pelvic floor physiotherapy. Today we're continuing our conversation about incontinence, and last week we talked about stress urinary incontinence and some tips and tricks to help with that. Today we're going to move over into our conversation about urgency and urge incontinence. Both urgency and urge incontinence is when you get that urge to urinate, it kind of comes on really quickly and you basically have like T-minus 0 seconds to get to the washroom. Probably feeling like you can't walk very well, that you're kind of having to like waddle along like a penguin. And there's that fear that you're not going to make it to the washroom on time. The only difference between the two is that with urgency, you actually do make it to the washroom on time and are able to eliminate in the toilet. Versus urge incontinence means that you might make it to the washroom on time, but there might be a few leaks that happen before you're able to unbutton your pants and sit down. Both urgency and urge incontinence are actually very common, and that's one of the reasons that I got into pelvic floor physiotherapy was because I had a lifelong history of urgency and urge incontinence. Typically what would happen for me is I would get home from school. I was a lot younger then, so even starting as young as like 10, 11 years old. I would get home, I'd put the key in the door, and suddenly I would have to urinate so badly. I'd be trying to get my school bag off, I'd be waddling up the stairs with my legs together as fast as I could, kind of bending over to see if I could help support the pelvic floor a little bit, and then I would either like just make it to the washroom in time, or I'd be leaking as I walked up the stairs, kind of depending on the day. Putting your key in the door is a trigger that's actually called Latch-Key urgency. It's really common. When my pelvic floor physiotherapy instructor asked us about that, like our entire group raised our hands and said, oh yeah, that happens to me too. Other triggers can be things like running water when you're doing the dishes, or filling up a glass of water or a pitcher. Other triggers for people can include when there might be a situation where they know they can't go to the washroom for a long period of time. So perhaps being on a plane where you're in a window seat, or when you're in the movie theater and you're in a center seat. Those are two of my triggers as well. And so I manage those by typically getting an aisle seat or sitting close to the end row when I'm at the movies. Regardless of what your trigger for incontinence is, I'm going to give you a few tips to help manage your urgency and urge incontinence. So again, the first thing that you're going to want to do is connect with your breath. And if you haven't seen my colleague Andrea Plitz and her Breathwork series, I'm going to make sure to link that in the comments below. That's going to take you all the way through connecting with your breath first, all the way up to putting it together with your pelvic floor. Next, when the urgency or that urgent need comes on, you're going to want to stop what you're doing and try to relax instead of panicking. You're going to use your breath work, so taking a few long breaths in, exhaling out, connecting with the pelvic floor. Finally, you're going to use a little bit of self-talk. So for example, if you are getting triggered when you put the key in the door when you get home, it's because you've created that trigger. You said to yourself, I'm going to go to the washroom when I get home. And the second your key goes in the door, your brain goes, you're home, and it triggers that urgent need to go to the washroom. We're going to instead use a little bit of self-talk. Instead of saying, I'm going to go to the washroom when I get home, we're going to be very clear. I'm going to go to the washroom when I'm sitting on the toilet and my pants are pulled down. If you are running water, you're going to use that same thing. Instead of saying, I'm going to go to the washroom when I'm done the dishes, you then stop doing the dishes, you get that sudden urge to go, you're going to say, I'm going to go to the washroom when I'm sitting on the toilet and my pants are pulled down. You're going to remain very calm about it. It sounds really simple, but this trick works very well for many people. I'm now the type of person that could go on an errand after work, feel like I have to urinate, go run my errand, still make it home, calmly put down whatever I need to put down instead of tossing it onto the floor, and make it to the washroom without concern. I want you to try these tips. Let me know if you found them helpful. And as always, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions that you think might be TMI, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll hopefully be able to cover them in future videos. Have a good day.